Alright, I'm just gonna play piano until people join, so I can barely read your comments, but I don't know if I'm expecting anyone to join this late at night, but I figured I might as well play. Yay, 2 of you! I love both of you. Alright, I think I'm probably just gonna keep playing. I'll experiment with a few different ideas. I've been playing a lot with melodic minor. By the way, the 2 of you that are here, can you hear me well? Is it like super loud? I'll give you a second to answer that. But anyway, I was gonna say I've been playing a lot in melodic minor recently. It's a beautiful scale with a set of delicious modes, 2 of which are diminished, 1 of which is augmented. There's one that's like let's take A melodic minor, right? So we have standard melodic minor, right, which just kind of starts out like minor and then ends up like major, right? And then we get that little bit of a quasi whole tone scale, like 5/6 of a whole tone scale. Right? And so the second mode is sort of like Phrygian and Dorian mixed together. We have that flat 2 and that raised 6th. And the third mode of melodic minor has an augmented chord, which is great. You can also add a major 7th on it. Isn't that just beautiful? Alright, I'll stop, but anyway, I love that mode. And again, you can slip so easily into the whole tone scale, right? Very easy to do that, so it's great for pivoting. But anyway, so let's go to the fourth mode, which is lovely. This is one that all of you know very well. The Simpsons, right? It's Lydian, dominant, 7. So just sort of like Dorian and Phrygian mixed together, the sort of bright and dark minor modes. You know, that happens with the second mode of melodic minor with the, you know, the relative, we go up minor third, just like the standard major minor modes are located a minor third apart. If we look at the relative mode in the case of melodic minor, while the mixture of bright and dark major modes, Lydian and Phrygian, excuse me, Lydian and Mixolydian. And it's funny because a lot of people use this for cartoon music. Think of Jerry Goldsmith and stuff, but it's actually really beautiful for slow stuff. Anyway, not to exaggerate too much, but it's a beautiful mode, really fun to play with. And then this one, so just like, these are located a fourth apart, so I don't want to confuse this with the other one, but it's interesting how the patterns are similar. So with the standard melodic minor, of course, it starts out like minor and it ends up like major. And forgive me, I'm getting over a cold. But if we look at the fifth mode of melodic minor, it starts out like major, but then it ends up like minor. Isn't that nice, right? So. Mixturing at the end there. But anyway, it's really beautiful, fun to use. I think Ray Vaughan Williams, is it the Lark Ascending Variations on a Theme? I can't remember. One of his pieces uses that mode to beautiful effect. It's one way of creating a scale in which minor 4 and 1 can go together. You know, because you know that's how minor 4 going to 1. By the way, forgive my slightly out-of-tune piano. It gives it a lo-fi vibe. A certain kind of appeal, but I do need to get tuned. Anyway, but yeah, so I could do like F Dorian and then like C Lydian, and you know, they're different modes or whatever you want. But if we use melodic minor, in the case of like F minor going to C major, it would be F melodic minor. You kind of keep the A flat and B flat to give it some continuity, even though you're resolving the C major, as opposed to raising them back to A and B. Whether or not you lower it or raise, whether or not you raise the F to F sharp is another question. But anyway, I don't want to overcomplicate things too much. I'm just going through the modes of melodic minor because they're great. Anyway, and then the last two are the diminished modes. This one's a little bit brighter because it starts with a whole step. You may think of Ravel, you may think of Debussy, you may maybe even a little bit of Lully, but it's a very common scale for French Impressionism, but also for jazz and stuff. Anyway, the next scale also creates a lovely half-diminished chord, but it's a bit darker. To me, it sounds a little bit more mysterious. There's a bit more mystique in that one. Whereas this one is maybe a little bit more relaxed, but at the same time still wondrous. But I don't know, that's just my subjective sense of these. Anyway, so that being said, let's experiment a little bit with melodic minor. It's also really fun, by the way, to resolve melodic minor to like the Greek modes in some way. So we could take like A flat melodic minor, and we can resolve it to G minor, right, which is sort of like a median substitution for E flat major. So let's go ahead and play with that a little bit, which is, by the way, the same exact chord progression, the kind of basis of Constellations, which is one of the track off of my piano album. So maybe I'll play a little bit of that. Alright, maybe we should toy around with harmony a little bit. Or maybe we should mess around with some melodies. Maybe let's try to find a motive. I don't know, we can do anything. I'm kind of thinking maybe Latin. I've been listening to some salsa music. Maybe, who's the... Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name. Chick Corea, who just passed away recently, unfortunately, very sadly. One of my favorites, but he does great. I actually don't know that tune, but he's got a lot of great stuff. But I'm thinking about something Latin and that kind of thing. Maybe we could do like All Things You Are. That's Latin, something like that. We could shed something like that. So the original thing, many of you have heard it before. I'm kind of messing with it, but it's kind of the idea. Those kind of half steps. It could be like flat 9 chord or sharp 9, really, bluesy. I like to make them like all major 7th, because I'm all dreamy at heart. But anyway, like kind of make a modal and stuff, but maybe something like da boom da ba da boom ba da boom ba da boom da ba da boom ba ba boom ba da boom. I mean, we can mess with the rhythm. So D da ba ga 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 ga. So you could do da 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 da, and whenever you do triplets, you could always do the bum bum bum, which is sort of becka da decka da decka 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2, or an actual triplet bum bum bum. Right, so there's a lot of different options. Again, excuse my cold, my crooked voice. I'm thinking of this as a pivot too, right? This. That almost sounds like the Twilight Zone or something, but. You know what I'm going to do too? I'm not going to use the pedal at all. I'm going to force myself to not use the pedal just for fun. Might hum too. Just kidding. I should show you also too, I was just thinking about this. I'm thinking about common tones. I just enjoy thinking about common tones, okay? So if we look at C sharp minor, and if we give this a C sharp Dorian, right, we actually get these two tones, which are the 5th and 6th of C sharp Dorian, but they actually become the 6th and 7th of C minor, and that's kind of beautiful. So we can play around with that, And so sometimes it can help you navigate from one chord to another when there's a change of scale, as if you kind of think of that as a goalpost. At the moment of the chord change, I'm going to hang out in the area where I can pivot, you know, from that place to that. From one place to another. Anyway. Well, I'm hearing something there. I'm gonna follow it, unrelated to what we were talking about. No. Maybe that, something like that, I guess. I don't know. No, I like that. That's kind of nice. That's such a weird scale. What even is that? It's like a whole tone scale with one half step added. We invented it here, folks. Oh, we have somebody commented. This is so beautiful. Your taste is infused with so many issues. Aw, you were so very nice. I'm so glad you enjoyed what I just played. Dreamy stuff is very fun. I really like a lot of French Impressionism. I learned a lot from French Impressionism. I learned a lot from minimalism too. Steve Reich, like the desert music, you know. There's so much great harmony in that piece. So many chords. I might even just pull up an example. Should I? No, I won't. It'll probably get a copyright flag. Not that it matters. But anyway, I'll play. I'm kind of glancing up here, so if anyone joins and has a request and wants me to do some particular musical thing, or wants me to play something that I probably won't know because my taste is weird, I might know it actually. But anyway, it'll be fun. So just feel free to type things up there. Otherwise, I'll just play Misty. You want me to play Misty? I've played Misty so many times. All right, I will play Misty again. And this is not going to sound, hopefully, like one of my previous things. go crazy, but that was fun. Let's see what comments. Forgive the close-up of my face. How do I see the chat? There we go. Bravo. Yay. Thank you. Oh, a lot of comments. Oh, you know what? I'm going to bring you guys down here. Let me, I know that was an overhead view, but is this too loud? Is that too crazy? Now I can see your comments, but that might be too loud. And you can't see my piano. Let's see, live chat. Interesting angles. What theory? Oh, you asked some questions. I might answer some questions. You know what? I'll be right back. I'm going to get a glass of water. BRB. I can't even get out of my closet because the door handle is not even on, which is quite funny. There we go. So I want you all to know that I'm drinking a limoncello LaCroix, which is actually really yummy. No sugar. Seltzer water. If you like sugar a lot, then you will find this absolutely disgusting, but it is a really good flavor of LaCroix. Anyway, okay, let me go back to reading the questions. Live chat. Okay, cool. Good volume. Geometry, shape with music, and angular lines. Ooh. Ooh. Harmonic minor concept. More. Okay, all right. All right. Let's see what else we have down here. All right, we got yeah, what theory books or scores would you suggest for expanding harmonic vocabulary? Okay, so there's obviously is it the Persichetti book? I think I have it. Let me go see if I can find it. Sorry for continually leaving you and abandoning you. Yeah, Persichetti. 20th Century Harmony, which is a great book, but it's pretty vertical in approach. It's basically just like, here's scales, here's intervals, here's set theory, you know. It's kind of a smorgasbord. I don't know. I feel like it would, I don't even know how to begin just talking about harmony. So maybe if you think about a more specific question, then I might be able to help out with that. But as far as books are concerned, not a lot of great ones that I've discovered yet that have interesting harmonic ideas. Obviously, Jacob Collier has a lot of interesting harmonic ideas, but for me, personally, for me, most of my harmonic vocabulary, the vast majority I've gotten from just studying scores. Like, I hear a piece of music. Like, I'll give you a specific example. Well, actually, yeah, I'll play a specific example from Allegro, an introduction for harp and strings. So I've been studying this piece recently with a student. So this is by Maurice Ravel, and it kind of goes something like this. It starts out with a flute and clarinet going something like... Sorry, I played that wrong. You know, I heard that, I was like, oh, what was that? That was amazing, like, you know, a couple of different things. So, you know, I thought, okay, we got that. That's just that's sort of like 4 going to the half diminished. It's like F major going to B diminished, right? In this case, I'm in a different key, you know. And then that's kind of like a tritone substitution, F dominant 7 going to E major, you know, so we get the idea of the tritone sub. Oh, that introduced a new thing. And then, you know, this whole... You know, there's a kind of thing that's happening a lot in pop music and a lot in Japanese music, and people made YouTube videos about it, but it's the 4-3-2-1 progression, right? Beautiful. You know, and of course, you know, Zelda's Lullaby uses that same progression. You can change modes. You know what? Since you asked about harmony, I'll give just like maybe 3 little tidbits of things that you can mess around with. So, it's really fun to see if you can mix together things, if you can make sound palatable to the ear, combinations of, you know, notes that are outside of the standard Greek mode scale framework. Not that there's anything wrong with those modes, they're beautiful, right? And it's often really beautiful to go outside and go in. And the way that I think about this personally, maybe I've said this before on camera, but just to reiterate, maybe I haven't, so I'll say it anyway. Melodic minor I think about as like a bridge between the symmetrical land, where you have all these, you know, the octatonic, and the whole tone scale, and the hexatonic. Sorry, that's very exotic, which Radavari uses quite a bit, as well as John Williams in the Star Wars series, of course. And then, of course, you have the standard modes, and so you can kind of mix them together. And this leads back into the Ravel Allegro and Introduction piece, because so it goes, you know, E major 7, and in fact, you know what? I can show you this on the melodica. That way, you can simultaneously get a view. Ta-da! So, right, so kind of like 4 going to 3, back up, which, by the way, modally is darkening because we're going from Lydian to Phrygian back to Lydian. But then we go to A major, which is sort of like, you know, brightening or darkening a little bit on the circle of fifths, right? And then this is something that the French Impressionists do all the time. They take this major 7th chord, they slip the third and fifth down by a half step, and then it turns into a diminished chord with a major 7th. And then they toy around with this, and of course with this diminished chord, any fully diminished 7th chord, you can always choose one of 2 diminished scales to use. So I can go in terms of neighbor tones, right? Very similar kind of bright sound. Or the other mode is a ya da 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 or ya da da da. The French Impressionists, they generally like, you know, particularly Ravel, the bright one, and so, you know. And interestingly, though, that chord, that's a good example, because that chord, I'll use it on A diminished major 7th, A, C natural, E flat, you know, G sharp, which is kind of a weird, you know, you get the flat and the sharp, but whatever. That could be diminished, but it could also be harmonic minor, right? C sharp harmonic minor, right? So again, you always have to think about the scale options, because the chords can be there, and then the scale can be here, and then the scale can change in a way that still works with the chords, and now the chords can change in a way that still works with the scale, and you kind of use that to stair step, and you can get to lots of different places without it sounding like too crazy to the ear. I don't know if that helps at all, but there's a second part to your question. Oh yeah, what French Impressionist composers do you already? Yeah, I really love Boulanger's. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I've never been able to figure it out. Psalm 130. Oh my gosh, the melody. I think it's like. Something like that. But anyway, that's a beautiful. Oh, I love that piece so much. As far as Ravel is concerned, obviously Daphnis at Chloe. Obviously his string quartet. I also really like his violin concerto. His violin sonata, which has a lot of bitonality and interesting stuff in it. And also this. It's like. And that kind of motive actually inspired me. For my first symphony. But anyway, and as far as Debussy is concerned, there's so many. Obviously, it's overplayed, but it's still beautiful. And of course, and I would piss my piano teachers off all the time. And that's why I became a composer, not a piano performer. Okay, what else do we have in here? Gaspard! Yes, I'm not playing that. That's no... no, thank you. Free and you're playing. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Both. But no, but thanks. That's been something I've been really trying to do lately. Not that I haven't always been that way by accident. But recently I've been experimenting, especially the past year, with like, there are a lot of different like Yoshimatsu's Memo Flora piano concerto. Those kinds of, and also like, again, minimalism and the French Impressionists, the kind of swirling, and also just the idea of wind chimes. I did that a while back where I was like, let's take a pitch collection and kind of just be random with it. And I was doing that a little bit with Kaleidoscope, which is one of the tracks off my album, and just toying around. And it's funny because you can be a little bit strategic about that in terms of the range of the piano, because the lower notes last longer and they're kind of more salient, although it's balanced out with the string change, 3 strings per high notes, 2 strings per the middle notes, and 1 string per the low notes. That's the case with uprights and grand pianos, right? The same kind of compensation exists within the string section, which is what makes it so intrinsically balanced. Rabbit Trail, back to what were we talking about? Oh, I was going to make a point that the high stuff on the piano goes away really quickly, and the overtone series only goes up, and it's higher up. So for all those reasons, if you start adding chromatic notes up higher, it sounds less bad, to put it bluntly, than if you do it down low, right? So if I'm here on C major, and I decide to put a B major on top, it sounds beautiful. Right? But if I do that down low, right, it could still work in a horror context, right? But it's still very, much more dissonant, right? So again, overtone series only goes up. That gives you a little bit of asymmetry. So you not only have the pitches interacting, but also the overtones interacting, and there's more that goes into that in acoustics. But we don't need to bog ourselves down with that. Anyway, all right, cool. That's another beautiful one. I think that was an orchestration challenge. Reflect Dans Lu. I don't know how to pronounce that again. That's a bunch of The Snow is Falling. There's also what's that piece? That's another beautiful use of melodic minor. That's one of the pieces from one of Debussy's suites. I can't remember. Here he is right here. He's very upset at me for not remembering what his suite was. But anyway, I'm just going to start playing, and if you post chords or ideas musically, then I'll take them. Otherwise, I'll just play random stuff just for fun. And I'll probably only go for like another 20 minutes. We'll make this a nice short 1-hour stream, and we'll call it a night. Sorry for my weird faces. Yeah, A flat minor 7. Any chord you just pick. One that I did a while back, that was super fun, was just switching back and forth between 2 different modes on the same root. And there's some that sound really nice, like for example, Lydian and Dorian, like. Pauses in my playing, more breath. But anyway, I was gonna give. Oh yeah, and there's an example of a cyclical progression that I really enjoy, and this is something that I'm going to talk about in a later harmony video, which will come up soon. So here's a sneak peek of that. And again, maybe I've mentioned it before, maybe not. Who knows? I also sometimes forget what I've talked about in YouTube videos and what I've talked about to students privately, which is kind of funny. But anyway, okay, C major 7 and then C minor 7. And then look what we can do. I think I have mentioned this. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I can take this perfect fifth and move it down by half step. Of course, the quality becomes minor 7. And then I can do the same thing with the other perfect fifth, and then the root shifts, and then it becomes major 7 again. You can do this over and over again, and it's beautiful. Wait, sorry. There it is. Yeah, so let's go through it just for fun. So F major 7. F minor 7. I'm just using Lydian and Dorian again. E major. E minor. See, that's funny. So, okay, so I heard that line in my head. That like I heard that whole line. I'm sure you guys sometimes hear melodies. And if you hear a line like that, you have to be present enough to be able to play it, because a lot of the times you even hear really good jazz pianists do this, and it's something that's really difficult to do. A lot of the times I'll hear something and I won't be able to execute it. But that's something I've been working on lately, specifically like making sure to drop immediately whatever autopilot is happening if a new idea is coming up, and be attentive enough and have done enough ear training that I can kind of execute it, and be familiar enough with fingerings and comfortable enough with scales that my fingers can just do the motor skills, right? That aspect of it just takes literally practice. It doesn't even have to be hard strenuous practice. You literally just have to do it. If you do it and you enjoy it and you're relaxed and it's consistent, then you will get better over time, because your brain will make the patterns and connections. This is another good example too of the difference between like messing with the shifting tones and the common tones. Right, so going from like F major to F minor, there are so many common tones. Right, but you can keep, but you can also mess with the. And that's also fun and kind of beautiful in its own way as well. Aeolian to Lydian, yeah. You know what I was messing with the other day too is starting out Lydian, but ending up like Aeolian. Right, that's kind of weird. It's kind of like kind of creepy. It's a really strange mode. But anyway, okay. It's always fun to just play the circle with this progression too. And there's so many ways to modify it, like, D minor, G and stuff. And you could go diatonically and just cycle around and, add the secondary dominants. Like, for example, even just this progression, there are so many, like, I feel like so many, this is going to be a bit of a rant, but I feel like so many people either write very traditionally and use traditional chord progressions and they string things together, or they kind of throw everything away and they just go, right? But you can take these traditional chord progressions and you can adapt them and modify them and play around with changes and modalities and things and make it more interesting. It's not even that, it's more interesting. The originals are still beautiful, it's just expanding your palette is all that it is. But anyway, okay, so again, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's that classic progression. So we can also go around the full circle of fifths and introduce these intermediary chords with these staggered thirds. Jokingly at the end there, but that's really what the progression is. And then I can mess with it. Instead of going from E minor, I go E dominant 7, which still goes to A minor. right? And then maybe a tritone sub. And then from there, C major 7 turns into C dominant 7 and some substitution of that. And then that resolves back to, you know, F major. And literally, when I say on dominant 7 chords, you can do anything with smooth voice leading. You can. Like, if I'm going, let's say that I'm resolving from G dominant 7 to C major 7, okay? And then I have a B flat on top. And the B flat might be dissonant with G dominant 7. You know, it's like major 7th with the 3rd and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's like adding the minor 3rd and the major 3rd, whatever. It may seem dissonant from that perspective, but with the outer voices, it's a minor 3rd, right? So that's totally fine. Now, add in the E, you know, an E flat, an F, a B, a G, right? Which it's like this voicing on top of a G, right? And then you can just add other pitches, right? And as long as you resolve it all, it sounds perfectly fine, right? One of the things that I like about that A flat minor going to, it sounds like A flat minor. It sounds like, you know, A flat minor going to E flat, which is again like minor 4 going to 1. But when you use that median substitution, when you go to G minor instead, then it's like the bass line slips down by a half step. I guess, you know, you kind of always go from A flat to the G minor and then eventually make it you know, not to be overly gratuitous, but and maybe you could set it up with a D flat. Which, by the way, is a great option. This is another thing that I want to talk about. So we'll put ourselves in C major to make things easy. F minor 6 going to C major. We've been talking about this continuously. Minor 4 going to 1, right? A substitution for that works with the same melody and that also has the same scale, F melodic minor, is B flat dominant 7, right? So anytime you're going from minor 4 to 1, you could always go, and it has a kind of Gershwin-y French impressionism kind of vibe, which is super fun. And that's Misty. Misty does that. You know, D flat dominant 7 going to E flat, which happens to be in the same key and the same chord progression that Ravel's Allegro and Introduction for Harp and Strings. Wait. I forgot what the melody is, but yeah, it's that chordal shape, sorry. But anyway, that's what it is. And he also sometimes will just take like, you know, sometimes it's just a modality. It's like a 13th, you know, a 13th on a dominant 7 chord, right? And he goes from that to A flat dominant. Wait, no, it's... And I think he uses like a tritone sub. We're going to D flat dominant 7, so he inserts a D dominant 7, which goes to D flat, but from A flat, that's a tritone away, so it's, you know. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, but we got a few minutes left. Let's see what else we got going. Oh yeah, McCoy Tyner is amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay. What have we not talked about yet? I got some books around here. Bill Evans. Some compositional ideas. Flight to Neverland. Danny Elfman stole that in Spider-Man. And in Alice in Wonderland. It's a great piece though. And I love in that melody, I love how that melody, he goes to the D major, and he keeps the D major in the right hand, but then he goes back to A minor in the left hand. Isn't that beautiful? And it's just an 11th and a 13th and a double over it, but. You know, there's a little bit of instability, the tritone. Alice is what they sing. It's really you can think of it as cheesy in some sense, but I don't know. I like it a lot. I think it's an ingenious score personally. Let's talk more playing. You know what I'm gonna do? Actually, I'm gonna play something like super folksy, and G major. I never play stuff like this. It's just that lemon bass thing, right? C, and then G over B, or C major 7 with a B in the bass, B flat major or G minor. And that's, by the way, Legend of Zelda. I love that because that's Ocarina of Time. Diatonic harmony, but it's just beautiful because you kind of agree with that kind of stuff. Or am I? Beautiful right there. That's that same thing that we did earlier with the A flat minor going to the G minor, but it's all diatonic, right? So F major, F6 going to C over E. And anyway, when going from the, I guess in conclusion I'll say, when going from the 4-3-2-1 progression, you can think of the F major and the D minor as being related. The same melodies work together. And the same thing with E minor and C major. So you can repeat. I can go or or it works great with sequences. Excuse me. You can just go on and on. That was a little weird, but it was fun. That's fun. So that's like F minor, Dorian, na na na, and then C over D, which is kind of like sus. And maybe they both slip up. We go to D flat. That's really fun to do with sus chords, by the way. You can flip around in the circle of fifths. You can just slip. You know, if I take a D and I put a C on top, and you could have a fifth too, like D and A, and then a C major on top. Right, and then you slip them both by half step, then you get really far away in the circle of fifths. Moving by half step always takes you five ticks away in the circle of fifths. But it is getting late, so I'm gonna play one more thing, and then I'm going to bed. It has been great fun with y'all. I am delighted that 11 of you showed up so late at night without any prior expectation. All right. You know what? Actually, I might play. I'll end playing Constellations since I did just release a new piano album. I'll play Constellations. You know, a different rendition of it. Did you have a request? Sorry, Laura. Oh, Steve Wright, Cross with 80s Pop. Too late at night. My brother's sleeping. Next stream I will play that though, because that does sound fun. All right. Have a good night, everyone. It has been fun.